Welcome to the deep dive. You know those stories, right? The ones you hear late at night, maybe around a campfire. These really chilling urban legends that just sound too crazy too. Well, out there to actually be true.
Exactly. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets properly unsettling. Sometimes the most horrifying ones, they aren't just stories. Yeah. So our mission today really is to unpack some of these documented accounts, cases where, that line between fiction and reality gets very blurry. Actually, it feels like it bleeds right through.
Okay.
We're going to uncover some frankly chilling truths behind tales that expose the darker side of human nature and some occurrences that just defy belief.
So we're talking about things like, well, you mentioned bizarre journeys after death and strange figures in the woods, even dark stuff happening online.
All of that and more. You'll find the truth is often quite a bit more disturbing than the original legend.
All right, let's get into it. Where do we start? Maybe with that classic one, the story about finding a real body in a haunted house ride mistaken for a prop. That feels like pure horror movie stuff.
It really does, doesn't it? But this one's completely real. It's the incredible and pretty grim story of Elmer McCurdy.
Elmer McCurdy.
Born back in 1880 in Maine. And his life was, well, troubled from the get-go. Issues around his birth, rumors of inbreeding adopted by relatives. It seems like he carried a lot of resentment, which kind of fueled a lifelong struggle with heavy drinking.
And he was an outlaw, right? But maybe not a very good one.
Yeah, putting it mildly. His criminal career was brief and honestly a bit of a joke. He had military training, knew about machine guns, nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
But his big finale was this terribly botched train robbery in Oklahoma, October 4th, 1911.
What went wrong?
Well, they targeted the wrong train, basically. They thought it was full of cash. Wow. Instead, their massive haul was, get this, 46 ugglers, a couple of bottles of whiskey, and the conductor's watch.
$46.
Yep. One newspaper actually called it one of the smallest robberies in history. It was pretty pathetic.
So how did he end up, as a prop?
Right. Well, his life ended just 3 days after that robbery.
Right.
October 7th, 1911. He got into a shootout with a sheriff's posse and was killed by a single shot. But then, this is where it gets weird.
Okay.
The undertaker in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, nobody claimed the body. So he decided to embalm Elmer using this arsenic-based preservative, meant for long-term preservation,
Yeah.
But instead of burying him, he put the body on display. Charged people nickel to see the bandit who wouldn't give up.
He charged people to see a dead body.
Yep. Kicked off this whole macabre afterlife for Elmer. In 1916, some carnival guys, the Patterson brothers, showed up with fake papers pretending to be relatives.
Oh, where?
Oh, yeah. They took Elmer and told him as the outlaw who would never be captured alive. And that was just the start. He went to a museum of crime, then was used to promote some exploitation movie called Narcotic in 1933. They claimed he looked mummified because of drugs, which wasn't true.
Gosh, it just kept going.
It did. He was stored in warehouses, popped up in another B movie in 1967, ended up at the Hollywood Wax Museum by 1968, but he was in such bad shape, people thought he was fake. Apparently, one place even sent him back saying he wasn't lifelike enough.
You couldn't make this stuff up, so how was he finally found?
December 1976. He was hanging in the Laugh in the Dark funhouse at the Pike Amusement Park in Long Beach. A TV crew for the $6 Million Man was filming there.
Seriously? The $6 Million Man?
Yep. A prop guy went to move what he thought was just this grungy wax dummy, and its arm snapped off.
Oh my God.
Revealed actual human bone and tissue underneath. Imagine that guy's reaction.
I can't even.
Right. So police were called. Autopsy confirmed it. Elmer McCurdy.
So he finally got a proper burial after all that.
He did. April 22, 1977 in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Almost 66 years after he died. And they made sure this wouldn't happen again. Poured 2 feet of concrete over his casket.
Wow. Just wow. That's more disturbing than any campfire story. How a real person's remains could be treated like that.
It really is. A chilling example of how, tragedy gets turned into this bizarre, decades-long sideshow.
Okay, moving from the Wild West to something a bit more recent. You mentioned a figure in the woods.
Yeah, this one's quite different. Takes us to Switzerland, near Malls, around 2003. Reports started surfacing about this figure. Tall, unsettling, always seen wandering the woods.
What'd it look like?
Witnesses described a dark boiler suit, combat boots, a long camouflage cape, and the really striking thing, a World War I era gas mask.
A gas mask in the woods.
Exactly. Locals called him Lei Loyan. For years, most people just dismissed it. Local legend, weird hearsay.
But the sightings continued.
They did,
Yeah.
and they became more credible. People often mention this feeling of, like, paralyzing dread when they saw him. Some even thought he was something supernatural, an otherworldly entity.
Was he dangerous?
Never reported as aggressive. He just was there.
Yeah.
But he definitely scared people, enough that police even started doing patrols. One woman, Marianne Declue, called her encounter unforgettable and unpleasant, but ultimately harmless.
So just sightings, no proof.
For a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
That lack of physical evidence kept it firmly in the realm of legend. But then, 2013, everything changed.
How?
A hiker out with his son actually managed to get a photograph, a clear picture.
Wow.
It got published in a major Swiss news outlet, Le Matin. And suddenly, Lei Loyan went from this obscure local failure to an international sensation. Tourists, ghost hunters, journalists, they all started showing up.
Oh, I bet that changed things.
Drastically. Because right after all that media attention hit, he vanished.
Just gone.
Completely. Sightings stopped. People started speculating maybe he died, maybe he was never real, maybe the attention just drove him away.
Did anyone ever find out?
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
The final piece of the puzzle came when another hiker found something, neatly folded. The boiler suit, the cape, and that gas mask.
He just left it.
And a note, a handwritten note titled, "The Death Certificate and Testament of the Ghost of Maul."
A death certificate.
Symbolic, it seems. The note blamed the newspaper, Le Matin, for publishing the photo, said it made his therapy of happiness, his solitary walks, impossible. It even mentioned Leopold von Sacher-Masoch, the philosopher whose name inspired the term masochism.
So it was just an eccentric guy who wanted to be left alone.
Seems likely. An eccentric hiker, perhaps finding some kind of solace in this persona. But the story really highlights how public obsession, fueled by media, can completely change, maybe even destroy, something mysterious. The ultimate truth. Still kind of murky, isn't it?
Yeah, it leaves you wondering. Okay, let's shift gears again. Sometimes legends aren't about ghosts or mysteries, but about human cruelty. Like the dog boy of Arkansas. That sounds like pure B-movie horror.
The legend is, yeah, half human, half dog hybrid. But the reality behind it, it's the story of Gerald Floyd Bettis. And it's arguably much more disturbing.
Gerald Bettis.
Adopted in 1954. Apparently, he was a difficult child from early on, described as vicious and cruel. He got into this horrifying habit of collecting animals, mostly dogs and cats, and, well, torturing them.
Oh, God.
That's where the dog boy nickname came from. He even built additions onto his parents' house just to keep more animals captive.
Jesus. What about his parents?
As a teenager, Gerald grew into this huge guy, like 6'4", nearly 300 pounds, and he basically terrorized his elderly parents. Kept them almost like prisoners in the upstairs part of the house, barely fed them.
That's horrifying.
There were reports he was incredibly violent towards his father, even threw him out of an upstairs window once. The father only survived because he managed to grab onto the ledge.
Unbelievable. What happened to them?
His father, Floyd, died in 1981. Some people suspected Gerald might have been involved, though it wasn't proven. His mother, Eileen, she eventually broke her hip. A home nurse witnessed Gerald's abusive treatment of her, and Eileen was finally removed by Adult Protective Services.
And Gerald.
He got arrested later for selling marijuana. Died in prison in 1988, drug overdose. But the full extent of his cruelty really came out after his mother passed away. They found hundreds of small animal bones hidden all over the house.
Oh, man.
So yeah, no half-dog hybrid, just profound human evil, a real monster living a seemingly normal life. It's a chilling reminder, isn't it?
Definitely. And thinking about hidden evils, what about those Halloween stories? Poison candy, drugs in treat bags, are those just scare tactics parents use?
You'd really hope so, wouldn't you? But unfortunately, no. They're based on grim realities.
Seriously?
Yeah. There's the infamous case from 1975. Timothy O'Brien, just 8 years old, murdered by his own father, Ronald Clark O'Brien. Cyanide. He laced a pixie sticks with cyanide to collect life insurance money. Tried to make it look like some random Halloween poisoning.
His own son. For insurance money.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Ronald was executed for it in 1984. And it's not just isolated incidents from decades ago. Much more recently, 2017 in Wisconsin, a father found a small baggie of crystal meth in his toddler's trick-or-treat haul.
Meth. In a kid's candy bag.
Yeah. It sparked this huge community alert. So these aren't just old wives' tales. They are real, documented cases where something truly evil has intruded on something meant to be innocent fun for kids.
That just makes your stomach turn. Okay, let's talk about institutions. Sometimes the legends involve powerful organizations, like the government. There have always been those whispers, those conspiracy theories about unethical experiments, like the government using aborted fetuses.
Right. That sounds like peak conspiracy fodder, doesn't it? But then you uncover something like Project Sunshine.
Project Sunshine.
Yeah, from the 1950s. It was a real study by the Atomic Energy Commission, part of the Cold War effort. They wanted to measure the effects of radioactive fallout on human tissue.
Okay.
They acquired the bodies of recently deceased infants and young children from places like Europe and Australia, and even within the U.S. Sometimes, it seems, without the parents' knowledge or consent. They would then cremate parts of the bodies, or sometimes whole bodies, to measure the levels of strontium-90, a radioactive isotope produced by nuclear testing.
Without consent, they took babies' bodies.
The documentation, declassified in the 90s, suggests consent was often not obtained, or at least ethically questionable. It caused a huge scandal when it came out during the Clinton administration. People were horrified.
I bet they were, and was that the only one?
Oh, hardly. The U.S. government, often under the military or intelligence agencies, conducted numerous unethical experiments, especially during the Cold War. There was Operation Sea Spray in 1950.
What was that?
They basically staged a simulated biological attack on San Francisco. Sprayed bacteria from a ship offshore to see how it would spread. People got sick. One person actually died from complications.
They attacked their own city.
As a test, yes. Then you had studies like at the Sloan Kettering Institute in '52, injecting live cancer cells into healthy prisoners at the Ohio Penitentiary. Again, questionable consent, to say the least.
Injecting cancer cells.
And Operation Big Buzz in 1955. They literally airdropped over 300,000 mosquitoes over parts of Georgia to see if they could be used to spread diseases like yellow fever.
They weaponized
He
malaria.
tested the concept. These things sound like outlandish plots, but they were real government programs, once denied, now documented facts. It forces you to ask some really uncomfortable questions about power, secrecy, and what was deemed acceptable in the name of national security.
Absolutely chilling. Okay, let's bring it to the modern age. Technology adds a whole new layer, doesn't it? Like creepypastas, those internet urban legends, Alice killings, one from Japan.
Yes, the Alice killing is a classic creepypasta about unsolved murders where playing cards are left at the scene. That's specific story, fiction.
Okay, good.
But the core idea. A serial killer leaving playing cards. That actually happened in Spain. Alfredo Gallon. Between 2003 and 2004, he became known as the playing card killer. He murdered 6 people and attempted to kill 3 others. And his signature. He'd leave a single playing card off from a Spanish deck near his victims.
What kind of person was he?
An ex-military guy, apparently quite introverted. His mental health had been declining, made worse by drinking and medication. Strangest part, he turned himself in. Just walked into a police station and confessed. Said he felt indifferent about the killings.
Indifferent. God.
He got 142 years. So, while the specific Japanese creepypasta isn't real, the horrifying reality of a serial killer using playing cards as a calling card, that's terrifyingly true, shows how evil can sometimes be disturbingly mundane.
And online platforms. You mentioned Craigslist earlier. It connects strangers, which can be great, but also risky, like that story about the diamond ring ad.
Oh, that one's truly heartbreaking. April 2010, Edgewood, Washington. Jim and Charlene Sanders posted an ad for a diamond ring on Craigslist.
Just a normal sale, seemingly.
Exactly. But the people who responded weren't buyers. It was a group of 4 heroin addicts planning a robbery. They forced their way into the Sanders home.
Oh, no.
It turned into a home invasion nightmare. They terrorized the family, tied up Charlene and the kids, tortured them. Jim fought back desperately to protect his family.
Did he?
He managed to give his wife a chance to call 911, but he was shot and killed in the struggle. He died a hero, saving his family.
That's just devastating. Did they catch the people who did it?
They did. The 4 attackers, Clavin Bernard, Joshua Reese, Kiyoshi Higashi, and Amanda Knight, made a mistake with an email, which led police right to them. All were convicted.
Such a tragic outcome from just trying to sell something online. It really makes you think twice about letting strangers know where you live.
Absolutely. The anonymity of the internet can create such dangerous situations. It highlights that vulnerability, how quickly a normal interaction can spiral into violence.
Okay, our last set of stories seems to revolve around motels, places people pass through. Maybe that anonymity attracts trouble, starting with the computer system murder.
Yeah, another case rooted in a classified ad, though this predates Craigslist as we know it. October 1992. A young couple, Jeremy Rolfs and Heather Offelman, responded to an ad for a computer system. They arranged to meet the seller, who called himself Tom Johnson, at a motel in Georgia.
Sounds innocent enough.
But Tom Johnson was actually Thomas E. Steeples. Once they were in the motel room, he attacked them brutally with a hammer.
Oh, God, no.
Heather was killed. Jeremy was severely beaten but survived, though with lasting physical and psychological trauma, understandably.
Did they catch Steeples?
Yes, but here's another chilling layer. Steeples was already serving time in prison for, wait for it, a terrifyingly similar double murder.
He'd done it before.
Yes. He'd previously lured another couple to a motel room, promising them a record deal, and then beat them both to death with a hammer.
My God. So he was caught for Heather's murder while in prison.
He was identified, yes. But before he could be formally prosecuted for Heather's murder and Jeremy's assault, he died in his cell. Suspected drug overdose.
So no real justice for Heather.
Not in a courtroom, no. It leaves this awful loose end. Another reminder of the dangers of meeting strangers in isolated places, and how some monsters, even when caught, can evade full accountability for their crimes.
These motel stories are just getting darker. They really expose the horrors that can hide behind those ordinary doors.
They absolutely do. Places of supposed rest becoming scenes of terror. It really plays on that fear of the unknown, the transient nature of those spaces.
So we've covered a lot, from Elmer McCurdy's unbelievable post-mortem journey to phantoms in the woods, monstrous neighbors, poisoned candy, government secrets, and the dangers lurking online and in motel rooms.
It really shows that line between urban legend and truth is, well, sometimes it feels non-existent, doesn't it? These stories, often dismissed, they're stark reminders of human capacity for cruelty, the bizarre things that can happen, the secrets institutions keep.
It's not about just being scared, though, is it? It's about understanding that these things can happen.
Exactly. It encourages that critical thinking. When you hear something that sounds completely unbelievable, maybe don't dismiss it out of hand. Reality is complex, often deeply disturbing. And these stories really challenge our assumptions about what's real versus what's just a story.
So maybe the final thought for you, listening, the next time you hear one of those wild tales, something that sounds too horrific or too strange to be true, just pause for a second. Consider that it might just be waiting for its own moment to step out of the shadows, waiting to reveal its own terrifying reality.
A provocative thought indeed.
Thank you for joining us on this, well, pretty unsettling journey today. Keep digging, keep asking questions. There are always more truths hidden just beneath the surface. We'll be back for the next deep dive.